Finally, there's a lot of concerns about security, and as Jim said, he worries about that, and he's not alone in worrying about that. The first item that I'll mention about security is voter privacy. So when you log on, you have to give your information to the computer, because the computer will automatically check your registration to see if you're actually a registered voter. A lot of states are changing the way they register voters. You know, you can register at a DMV or a welfare office. You can pick up the registration, and at the time when you register in those places, they take your fingerprints or your palm prints and get your personal information, and so all of that is kept on file in a computer memory along with your signature. So when you log on to vote, that information is already there, and the computers just talk to each other and check your registration. Once your registration is validated, then you're given a ballot. But your identity can be kept secret from your vote, because the process is separated into modules, and so the server has modules, and the first module checks your name and registration, and then it sends you without your name to the second module, which presents the ballot, so that your vote is 100% anonymous. And it can be done so that even if a court ordered that the election official present the names of the people and how they voted, it couldn't be done because there would be no sharing of information, and so it couldn't be retrieved how a particular person voted. So the information would be stored separately and never connected, so voter privacy would be assured. That's one of the differences between voting online and commerce online. Commerce online keeps your name connected with the transaction from the very beginning, and is stored. The name and the transaction are stored together, because if you have a problem with a transaction, you have to be able to show that it was your transaction, and there has to be a record of that. But with the voting, the name and the vote will be separated and going into different modules. Once you vote, and the screen says you voted for whoever, is this what you want to do? And you push yes, and then your vote is recorded. The recorded votes go to a third module, which would tally the votes and keep the votes stored for future reference. I'll skip ahead and say that after you vote, you press yes, I want to vote, you can get a voter number. And this voter number is not in any way referenced to your name or your vote. It just shows that this vote has been counted, and later the website would produce a list of all the numbers of votes that were counted, and you could see if your number was there, and if your number is there, then you know that your vote was counted. So that would be a way for voters to verify that their vote was counted. Otherwise, you just vote and you never know what happens. It goes into cyberspace, and you wonder if it disappeared or if it was counted. So with a voter number and a list coming up later, that would show you that your vote was counted. And the same thing would apply to recounts and auditing. If somebody wanted to have a recount, there was the senatorial election in Minnesota in 2008, and the loser challenged the results in court, and so all the votes had to be collected and recounted, and they found all kinds of votes that were never counted and lost and found, and votes you couldn't read, marks that were illegible or weren't in the wrong place, and it took, I think it took almost a year for the courts to settle who the winner was. With internet voting, if the loser wants to challenge the results, you audit the modules, and each module has a memory of what it did, and you see how many people in the first module were found to be registered voters, and then you see how many votes in the second module were taken, and then you compare those numbers with the numbers in the third module, and presumably all the numbers would be the same. And if not, then you have the computer scientists dig into the codes and find out, why there's a discrepancy. But auditing with an internet voting process can be done. Then the parts I skipped here are the forms of attack. There's a lot of different forms of attack. Any internet operation is subject to attack, and one of the most cited form is called the denial of service. That's when a lot of computers send information to one server, and the server can't handle all the information at one time, and it freezes up. And it's like, for the voter, it would be like having a busy signal. You try to log on, and it would say temporarily out of service or something like that. And so, if you had an orchestrated effort to send millions of inquiries to a voting website, you could jam up the website and deprive everybody of voting. Yeah, that's the theory. And in fact, Canada had in Toronto, there was a local election in 2003, and based on internet voting, and some people did run a denial of service attack, and the system was shut down for about 45 minutes before the engineers figured out what the problem was and stopped the attack from coming in and opened up the system again for voting. So that was using 2003 technology, and the technology for security has improved since then. But even then, the problem can be detected and solved quickly so that the voting can proceed. And another form of attack that people worry about is called spoofing. Spoofing is, for example, you get an email and it looks like an official, maybe Democratic Party email, and it says, "We want you to vote and we love democracy and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to vote, so click here." And you click there and it takes you to a fake website. And maybe you enter in your information and you think you're voting, and then you push yes, I voted, and you feel great about it, but in fact the official website never got your vote, and the bad guys could have your voter information and they could go on the official website and vote in your name for whatever candidate they want. And that's called spoofing. One of the ways to protect against spoofing is public education. The secretaries of state would have to educate the public about this scam, and say, we're not going to send you an email to make it easier for you to vote. So if you get an email like this, delete it. and you have to log on to the website to vote, you have to make the effort. We're not going to send you emails. And if you're careful about what you click on, you can defeat efforts at spoofing. So these are some of the basic issues involved around internet voting. Internet voting is good for trees because you don't need any paper records. And internet voting is good for people because it's convenient. You can vote in your pajamas, and it enhances the quality of democracy because it can be used to give the voters more input into the system and further empower the voters in the process. So with that, I'd like to go to Q&A and see if there's any questions.